In the late 19th century, Egypt was a land of profound paradox. It was a place where the echoes of pharaohs lingered in the silent gaze of colossal statues, and where the sands of time held secrets of an empire that had astounded the world for millennia. Yet this ancient stage was also a chaotic theatre of discovery and plunder. The allure of its buried treasures drew scholars, adventurers, tomb raiders, all eager to claim a piece of its magnificent past. The air was thick with the dust of excavation, but also with the frantic energy of a gold rush. Priceless artifacts were often treated as mere commodities, their historical context lost forever in the rush for profit. Egyptology was still a fledgling discipline, struggling to establish its principles against rampant exploitation. For every meticulous scholar attempting to piece together the grand puzzle of Egyptian history, there were a dozen others who saw the Nile Valley as a quarry for European museums and private collections. Tombs sealed for 3,000 years were being hastily emptied, their contents dispersed across the globe with little regard for documentation. This unchecked excavation threatened to erase the very history people sought to uncover, leaving a fragmented and distorted picture of a once great civilization. Imagine the scene: the sun-scorched landscape of Luxor, Saqqara, dotted with makeshift camps of excavators. Local villagers, often employed for their knowledge of the land, would unearth a royal tomb, only for its precious contents to be swiftly packed into crates and shipped away. The intricate stories told by inscriptions, the delicate artistry of funerary objects, the sacred arrangements of burial chambers were often overlooked or destroyed. It was within this turbulent and often lawless environment that a figure of immense importance would soon emerge. The urgent need for order, for a system to protect and preserve Egypt's legacy, was becoming undeniably clear. A guardian was needed, someone with the vision, the authority, and the deep scholarly reverence to halt the destruction and transform the hunt for treasure into a true scientific pursuit. The stage was set for an individual who would not only decipher ancient texts, but also write a new chapter in the preservation of world heritage. Into this chaotic world stepped Gaston Maspero, a French scholar whose name would become synonymous with the protection of ancient Egypt. Born in Paris to Italian parents, a man whose intellectual brilliance was matched only by his unwavering dedication to the past. He was not an adventurer seeking fame and fortune, but a meticulous academic, a philologist of extraordinary talent. He saw the inscriptions on tomb walls as a living language waiting to be heard. His arrival in Egypt marked a pivotal turning point. The tide began to shift from reckless exploitation toward methodical conservation and genuine understanding. This essay will journey through the remarkable life and career of Gaston Maspero. We will begin with his early years in France. His prodigious gift for languages set him on a path to the ancient world. We will follow his rise through the academic ranks. That rise culminated in his appointment as director of the Egyptian Antiquities Service. In that powerful role, Maspero waged his greatest battles, not against ancient curses, but against real threats: tomb robbery, illegal trafficking, the indifference of colonial administrators. He knew saving Egypt's secrets required more than a trowel and a brush. Next, we delve into his on-the-ground contributions. We will examine his major archaeological discoveries, the unsealing of royal mummies at Deir el-Bahari, his groundbreaking work in the Saqqara pyramid fields, but his legacy goes beyond any single discovery. He tirelessly established the Egyptian Museum in Cairo as a world-class institution, a sanctuary where pharaonic treasures could be preserved and studied for all humanity. Ultimately, Gaston Maspero became more than a leading Egyptologist. He became the guardian of a nation's soul. He fought so the story of ancient Egypt would not be sold to the highest bidder, but told through careful, respectful study of the evidence. By charting his journey, we appreciate the man who saved the pharaohs' secrets from the sands of time, ensuring their voices still speak across the millennia. Gaston Camille Charles Maspero was born in Paris on the 23rd of June 1846 into a world far removed from the sun-drenched landscapes of the Nile Valley. His parents were of Lombard Italian origin, having moved to France as political refugees. His father, a man of letters, a patriot, instilled in his son a deep appreciation for history and culture. The Maspero household encouraged intellectual pursuits. Young Gaston was raised in an environment that valued knowledge and learning above all else. From a very young age, it was clear that Gaston was no ordinary child. He possessed a restless and inquisitive mind. His true passion was not for the typical games and pastimes of boyhood. He was drawn to the intricate world of languages. While his peers grappled with their native French, Maspero was already exploring the complex grammars and scripts of other tongues. His fascination was not merely with communication, but how words were formed, how sentences were built, how different cultures expressed their thoughts through unique linguistic systems. His formal education began at the prestigious Lycée Louis le Grand, a school renowned for its rigorous classical curriculum. Here, his natural aptitude for languages flourished. He devoured Latin and Greek, mastering the classical texts with an ease that astonished his teachers. But his curiosity extended far beyond the traditional syllabus. He began to teach himself other languages, driven by an insatiable intellectual hunger. While others saw dusty old books, Maspero saw gateways to forgotten worlds and lost civilizations. He understood, even as a teenager, that language was the key. His Parisian childhood was the crucial period where he forged this key. It was here that the future guardian of Egypt's heritage first learned to listen to the silent voices of history. The pivotal moment in Gaston Maspero's young life, when he was just 14 years old. It was an encounter not with a person, but with a book. He came across a copy of Jean-François Champollion's Précis du système hiéroglyphique, the groundbreaking work that had first deciphered the ancient Egyptian script. For Maspero, this was a revelation. The whispers of the pharaohs had found their way to him. The challenge of hieroglyphs was precisely the kind of complex puzzle his mind craved. He dedicated himself to mastering this ancient language with a singular, almost obsessive focus. His burgeoning expertise did not go unnoticed for long. Word of a teenage prodigy who could read hieroglyphs soon reached the ears of Auguste Mariette. Mariette, a towering figure in the field, was naturally skeptical. He presented Maspero with a newly acquired hieroglyphic text, notoriously difficult and yet untranslated. Instead, Maspero proceeded to translate it with a fluency and accuracy that left the veteran Egyptologist utterly speechless. The test had become a triumph. A powerful alliance had been forged. Following his astonishing demonstration for Auguste Mariette, Gaston Maspero's academic trajectory accelerated dramatically. He enrolled at the prestigious École Normale Supérieure in 1865. There he refined his linguistic skills. He immersed himself in Egyptology, absorbing the history, art and religion of the civilization. His university years were a burst of productivity. In 1867, while still a student, he published his first Egyptological papers. One early publication was his translation of 2 hymns to the Nile god Hapi. This showcased his linguistic precision and his ability to interpret cultural and religious context. Success brought opportunities and responsibility. In 1869, a new chair at the École pratique des hautes études was created. At 23 and still a student, Maspero was appointed to teach the course, an almost unheard of honour. In 1874, he succeeded Emmanuel de Rouget to the chair at the Collège de France. At 28, Maspero had reached the pinnacle of academic life. He was ready for the next step, the journey to Egypt itself. However, the whispers of Egypt, which he had first heard as a boy, grew louder. The opportunity to answer that call arrived in 1880. The French government decided to establish a permanent archaeological mission in Cairo. Maspero was the obvious and perfect choice. His arrival in Cairo marked a new chapter, not just for him, but for the course of Egyptian history. He began organizing a library, setting up a printing press for scholarly works, and mentoring young Egyptologists from France, transplanting Parisian academic standards to the banks of the Nile. But fate intervened. His mentor, Auguste Mariette, was gravely ill. In January 1881, Auguste Mariette finally succumbed to his long illness, after a brief period of political negotiation. At the age of just 34, Gaston Maspero became the new director of the Egyptian Antiquities Service. He inherited an organization in a state of crisis. Maspero was faced with a monumental task: to reform and professionalize this sprawling bureaucracy. Maspero's approach was a stark contrast to his predecessors. Where Mariette had been secretive, Maspero was collaborative and systematic. One of his first actions was to conduct a thorough inventory. He began the painstaking process of cataloguing thousands of objects. He was transforming the museum from a storehouse into a true scientific institution. Beyond the museum walls, he began to implement a series of crucial administrative reforms. He was laying the groundwork for a new, more ethical era of archaeology. One of Gaston Maspero's most significant and immediate challenges was the persistent and highly organized looting of tombs, particularly in the Theban necropolis. For years, a steady stream of high-quality royal artifacts had been appearing on the antiquities market with no known origin. Maspero began a careful, methodical investigation. His persistence paid off spectacularly in 1881. The investigation led to the Abd el-Rasul family. One brother confessed and led Maspero's assistant to a hidden shaft at Deir el-Bahari. Inside, they found a secret royal cache. Ramesses the Great, Thutmose III, preserved to protect them from ancient robbers. The royal cache of Deir el-Bahari was a sensational triumph. He personally oversaw the rapid clearance, documenting and securing more than 40 royal mummies and their funerary equipment. The finds were transported down the Nile to Cairo. A steamship carried the pharaohs, met by wailing villagers on the riverbanks. While the discovery of the royal cache brought Gaston Maspero international fame, his most significant scholarly contributions arguably came from Saqqara. For centuries, these pyramids were believed devoid of interior decoration, silent, aniconic monuments. Maspero, with deep knowledge of religious texts, suspected otherwise. After great effort, they breached the burial chamber, and his theory was spectacularly proven. Walls covered floor to ceiling with vertical columns of hieroglyphs, a discovery of monumental importance, the oldest substantial body of religious writing known. He had uncovered the pyramid texts, spells, hymns, rituals. Maspero dedicated himself to documenting, transcribing and translating the new corpus. It laid the foundation for future study and proved his belief that the true treasure of Egypt was not gold, but words. He gave voice to the silent pyramids. Gaston Maspero understood that excavation and discovery were only the first steps. His pen was as mighty as his excavator's trowel. His most monumental work was the multi-volume Histoire ancienne des peuples de l'Orient classique. It became the standard university textbook for decades. He also made specialized knowledge accessible. These stories offered glimpses of daily life, of humor, and of imagination of ordinary Egyptians. When Gaston Maspero first took control, its precious collection was housed in an inadequate and vulnerable building, highlighting the urgent need for a more suitable home. He began tirelessly advocating for the construction of a new museum, a long and arduous political struggle. After years of lobbying, his efforts finally bore fruit. In 1897, a cornerstone was laid for a new Egyptian museum in the heart of Cairo. In 1902, the new Egyptian Museum officially opened its doors, a triumphant culmination of Maspero's long campaign. The museum he founded was more than just a building. It was the physical embodiment of his life's work, a permanent, secure sanctuary for the treasures of the pharaohs. Maspero waged a relentless war against the illicit trade, using every administrative and legal tool at his disposal to stem the flow of artifacts out of the country. His guardianship also extended to the physical preservation of the monuments themselves, pioneering efforts to stabilize crumbling structures and protect them from further collapse. He operated in an era of rampant colonial exploitation and used his authority not to enrich France, but to protect and preserve Egypt's patrimony within Egypt itself, a radical and often unpopular stance at the time. His successor, Pierre Lacour, continued his policies, leading to the decision to keep Tutankhamun's treasure in Egypt in 1922. That decision would have been unthinkable before Maspero's principle of national ownership. He gave tools for Egyptians to be stewards of their heritage. He was a man of contradictions, a European colonial administrator turned nationalist, a quiet academic who waged fierce political battles. He was the scholar with the authority of a general and a guardian with the soul of a poet. He saved artifacts and the context they held. He ensured the pharaoh's whispers would be heard, studied and preserved for all humanity. He remains, without question, one of ancient Egypt's most important guardians. In the vast and storied land of Egypt, where the desert sands meet the fertile ribbon of the Nile, there exists a city unlike any other. This is Aswan. It is a city defined by its unique geography. Here, the serene flow of the mighty Nile is dramatically interrupted. Great, dark knuckles of granite rise from the riverbed, forming the infamous First Cataract. These rapids made further navigation by boat impossible, forcing river travellers to pause and unload. They had to engage with this formidable frontier town. Aswan was, in essence, the final stop on the line. This reality shaped Aswan's dual identity, a high-security border post and a bustling cosmopolitan hub of commerce. As the last major settlement before Nubia, known to the Egyptians as Kush, Aswan stood as a fortress, teeming with soldiers, officials and spies, guarding the kingdom. Yet that barrier also made it prosperous. Boats heading north with exotic African goods, and south with Egyptian grain and crafts, had to stop here. The pause turned Aswan into a vibrant marketplace of cultures, languages and fortunes, made, exchanged and sometimes lost. But Aswan's importance ran deeper than trade and security. It was steeped in spiritual meaning, a landscape where stones and waters were sacred. The same granite that formed the cataract supplied Egypt's greatest monuments. Stone that built the pyramids, carved statues of gods and kings, and raised the towering obelisks. The quarries were the engine room of pharaonic ambition, and Aswan's masons were legendary, proof of human ingenuity against the hardest stone. In this series we embark on a scholarly journey through Aswan. We will explore it as more than a map point, a dynamic crossroads of history. We will examine its role as a frontier fortress, a centre of immense wealth, and a sacred landscape where science and religion met. We will walk ancient quarries, decipher temple secrets, and see how people harness the Nile. This is the story of Aswan, granite power, divine mystery, and the enduring spirit of civilization on the edge of an empire. At dawn, the Nile gathers its light and purpose. Here in Aswan, our inquiry traces three interwoven threads: stone, water, and belief, each shaping a frontier where empires tested their power and people defined their lives. First, stone, the great granite quarries, shelves of pink and black rock, the very substance that built Egypt's monuments and ambitions. We study the unfinished obelisk like detectives, running our gaze from close grain to sweeping form, reading tool marks etched by ancient hands, learning method from their precise, patient craft. The work demanded immense labour and astonishing skill, chisels, wedges and rhythm, until a fatal crack travelled through the stone, and the enterprise fell silent. Second, water, the Nile, lifeblood of Egypt. In Aswan, its moods were watched with unique intensity, for the fortunes of the kingdom rode upon its rise and fall. On Elephantine Island, stone steps descend to the river. The Nilometer. Carved markers leading downward to knowledge measured in cubits and currents. Each numeral told a future. The flood's height predicted harvest. The harvest foretold abundance or scarcity, and from that, the state set its taxes. Measurement became policy. Here, priestly science and state administration merged, temples and scribes, records and decrees, a bureaucracy calibrated to the breathing of the river. Third, belief. Aswan was a sacred landscape. Egyptians imagined the Nile springing from a hidden cavern beneath Elephantine, guarded by Khnum, the ram-headed creator who shaped life upon his potter's wheel. Pilgrims crossed water to Elephantine and to Philae's colonnades, where ritual and myth affirmed identity, creation retold in stone and sunlight. Aswan is also the heartland of Nubian culture. Colour-washed homes, music and dance, language and memory, a living heritage resilient through change. In the 20th century, modern power confronted ancient waters. The Aswan High Dam rose, and behind it spread Lake Nasser, an engineering scale hard to fathom. The rising lake triggered a UNESCO rescue. Temples numbered and lifted, blocks craned and carried, history saved even as places were lost, a complex legacy of progress and sorrow, echoing pharaonic ambitions to command the Nile. Stone, water, belief. In Aswan, they converge. As golden light settles on the river, we pause and prepare to follow these currents deeper into the story. To the ancient Egyptians, the Nile ordered the world, a living axis of time and place. Their civilization ran as a thin, fertile ribbon through vast, intimidating deserts, and its beating heart here gathered light and meaning from the river. Swenet, the city we now call Aswan, stood at the southern edge of certainty. For most of Egypt's long history, this was the end of the known world, the final bastion of the pharaoh's domain, where desert met river and imagination met reality. The threshold was physical as well as mental. Smooth, navigable waters gave way to granite islets and churning rapids, the first cataract, where dark stone rose like knuckles from the riverbed, changing the river's very character. Here, navigation faltered and symbolism deepened. Boats edged past the turbulence. Travellers paused, unloaded, and reckoned with a boundary that impeded passage and defined identity. That pause made a city. Markets thrummed, boats loaded and unloaded, languages mingled in the alleys and on the quays. Aswan became vibrant and cosmopolitan, and always faintly on edge. Officials and soldiers, merchants and Nubian traders, mercenaries and diplomats. A frontier caste moving through sunlight and shadow, their dealings measured, watched, recorded. The frontier role was administrative and a logistical necessity. Aswan functioned as the pharaoh's southern customs house and immigration office, a meticulously managed gate where movement was checked and identity confirmed. Every ounce of grain and every piece of pottery bound south, every tusk of ivory, every block of ebony, every gram of gold coming north. All of it stopped here, listed, assessed, registered, taxed. Scribes tallied values, marks were struck and seals impressed. In orderly script and measured numbers, policy met the river. Bureaucracy calibrated to a breathing landscape. Thus Aswan stood as a liminal space, the threshold between the two lands and Nubia, and as a carefully managed gateway controlling people and wealth. As dusk settles on the river, we see a city defined by stone and water, and by the ledger. The impending creation of Lake Nasser threatened to drown a vast stretch of Nubia, a treasure house of the ancient world. Temples, fortresses, and countless smaller sites lay in the path of rising water lines, and with them irreplaceable chapters of human history. Confronted by this looming loss, Egypt and Sudan appealed to the international community. That call produced an extraordinary response, the UNESCO Nubia campaign, launched in 1960, a moment when the world resolved to act. Archaeologists and engineers assembled alongside fundraising teams from over 50 countries. In conference halls and desert camps alike, a race against time began, a coordinated global effort of rare ambition and solidarity. The first objective was clear: survey, excavate and record before the waters rose. Across dunes and riverbanks, teams paced grids, logged finds and mapped landscapes, preserving data that would soon lie beneath the lake. They uncovered forgotten settlements, documented exquisite panels of rock art, and opened ancient cemeteries, a wealth of evidence carefully drawn, photographed, and catalogued. In salvaging knowledge, our understanding of Nubian history deepened. The second objective demanded engineering audacity. Relocate great stone monuments. Cranes rose amid scaffolding. Plans were drawn for the careful disassembly and resurrection of sanctuaries long rooted in place. Foremost among them stood Abu Simbel, the Marquis Rescue. Engineers marked cut lines on sandstone, prepared to divide the complex into more than 1,000 blocks, some weighing up to 30 tons, each destined to be lifted to higher ground. Piece by massive piece, blocks were hoisted, transported, and set with painstaking precision, a giant jigsaw puzzle returning to form. The original orientation and intent were preserved as the temple took shape anew. The miracle was repeated at other sites, notably at Philae, the temple of Isis, among colonnades and water. Each relocation balanced archaeology, architecture, and reverence for sacred meaning. At Philae, a coffer dam enclosed the island. Water was pumped away, teams dismantled blocks and ferried them by barge to Agilkia. There, stone by stone, the complex was raised anew on safer ground. Landscaped to evoke its original setting, Philae on Agilkia became a testament to engineering and international solidarity. Priceless heritage was saved, yet the sacred landscape and the homes of the Nubian people were lost beneath Lake Nasser. Our journey through Aswan reveals layers of meaning, stone, water and belief, woven along the river where a frontier shaped history and identity. From the granite shelves of Aswan came Egypt's enduring faces, temples, statues and towering obelisks, cut by patient minds and disciplined hands. The unfinished obelisk still instructs us, mastery tempered by a flaw in the rock, its frozen surface a lesson in ambition, technique and respect for nature. On Elephantine, priests measured the Nile with sober care. The Nilometer turned water's breath into numbers, and numbers into policy that guided a kingdom. At Philae, devotion and beauty endured. Ritual beneath colonnades, where creation myths were retold in stone and sun, echoing across the water. Here, belief, observation and power converged, an inheritance as delicate as it is strong. In the 20th century, the high dam rose and Lake Nasser spread, a new command of the river, vast in its promise and profound in its cost. In response, the world assembled. The UNESCO rescue lifted sanctuaries stone by stone, engineering joined to care, saving memory from the deep. Yet landscapes and homes were lost. The Nubian people carry a living heritage, language, music, colour-washed villages, resilient through change. Today, the hum of turbines echoes ancient ambitions to harness the Nile, linking the Pharaohs' age to our own. True preservation means more than saving stones. It honours the Nubian community whose memory and care renew this place. Aswan's lesson endures, balance power with wisdom and memory with progress. May we be worthy stewards, so these voices continue to speak to the world. Imagine standing before a vast temple carved directly from a mountain. 4 colossal statues of a pharaoh, each over 60 feet high, stare out across the desert sands for eternity. One is broken, its massive head resting at its feet, a testament to time's relentless power. The entrance is a mysterious void between the giant's legs. This is the scene David Roberts painted in his work, The Great Temple of Ebu Simbel, Nubia. When Europeans first saw it in the 1840s, it was like gazing at another world. They had read of ancient Egypt, but never with such dramatic reality. Roberts brought this lost world to life before the age of photography. His journey a monumental undertaking. David Roberts was born in Stockbridge, a suburb of Edinburgh, in 1796. His family were of humble means, his father a shoemaker. From a very young age, he sketched on any surface he could find. At 12, he apprenticed to the decorator Gavin Bugo. Imitation stone, wood and marble, unglamorous. Yet it taught texture and illusion. The theatre demanded speed, scale and drama, his priceless second apprenticeship. In London, at Drury Lane, his spectacular backdrops earned renown. Yet he longed for fine art, exhibiting architectural paintings. He joined sketching circles, befriended artists, including J.M.W. Turner, and fused precision with stage-like atmosphere. By the early 1830s, he yearned for subjects beyond Britain. Spain, less travelled, blended European and Moorish influences. In Granada, he sketched the Alhambra's delicate archways, tiled patterns and tranquil courtyards. Spain transformed his palette, warmer tones and dramatic light and shadow. A brief journey to Morocco gave first-hand glimpses of North African life. Markets, garments and prayer. He began adding people to place, figures animating architecture. The Spanish works were a sensation, proof there was a market for foreign scenes. These travels were a dress rehearsal, practical training for the far more ambitious journey to Egypt and the Holy Land. In August 1838, at 42, Roberts set sail for Alexandria, a self-funded professional mission to document ancient monuments. He entered remote, perilous regions of the Ottoman world, undaunted. He began to draw at once. He hired a cangia, boat and crew, his floating studio for months. With documents from Muhammad Ali Pasha, he gained rare access, even mosque interiors. He traced the Nile's rhythm, Giza to Luxor and Karnak, then to the Valley of the Kings. Pushing into Nubia, he reached Abu Simbel, its facade still half entombed in sand. 11 months of dawn to dusk toil in heat, storms and flies, then across Sinai to the Holy Land. He sailed home in 1839 with hundreds of detailed sketches and notes. After Egypt, he turned east, 1839, crossing Sinai toward the lands of Edom and Jordan, the pull of antiquity and the rumour of a rose-red city half as old as time. We enter the Siku, narrow, towering walls, rose sandstone veined like wood grain. Light filters down in ribbons, cool shadow, then sudden warmth. Footsteps and soft camel bells, a guide scarf flashes, a waterskin swings. Then, first glimpse, the treasury, Al-Khazneh, igniting at sunrise. Columns blaze, figures below turn small as seeds, scale made human. Roberts works on site, pencil and wash studies pressed to board, carvings traced with care, broken capitals noted, camel trains sketched at rest, Bedouin guides recorded in profile. He fixes the moment before the light climbs higher, stone breathing in gold. From these studies come paintings and later lithographs. The treasury, the monastery, Deir vast against the sky. The theatre cut from living rock, the street of facades stepping down the cliff. A warm palette, ochres and rose, meets stagecraft, sun and shadow placed like curtains. Elevations ring true, ornament measured, urns, dentils, niches. He threads life through stone, tents pitched in shade, waterskins dark with use, costume and gesture animating space. Wadi Musa's springs, the open vault of Wadi Rum, high plateaus, drifting cloud, a horizon that breathes. Before photography could travel here, these plates carried Petra outward, across drawing rooms and lecture halls. Romantic spectacle balanced with topography one could trust. Scholars marked details. Travellers dreamed routes. Publishers turned pages that felt like doorways. Together with his Egypt series, the Jordan works widened the map of wonder and the map of knowledge. And so, beyond the Nile, through rosestone and desert air, Roberts completes the circle, a world measured in light and line. From Petra, he moved west into Ottoman Palestine. Jerusalem at first light, walls resolving from shadow to stone. The dome of the rock takes the sun, metal bright above terraces and courts. In the old city he works as ever, board under arm, pencil and wash ready. Inscriptions, masonry joints, dress and market stalls are noted on the spot. Measured elevations and ornament set down with calm precision. Back in Britain, these views circulate in albums and on parlour tables. Plates of the Holy Land read as trustworthy records before photography is common. Romantic atmosphere held in place by accurate drawing. Northward to Damascus, souks and gates, arcades ribbed with timber, water channels threading shade. He paces spans, marks voussoirs and lintels, and catches the fall of cloth and gesture. Across Syria, the terrain gathers to a citadel, then opens at Palmyra. Colonnades run in long perspective. The tetrapolon hinges space. The Temple of Bel becomes a theatre of sun and shadow. Tiny figures give scale without spectacle. At Baalbek, late light turns amber on colossal blocks. Corinthian orders rise into quiet. Textures of bridles, baskets and fabric place the present within the antique frame. Lebanon's ridge and coast close the northern arc. These images form an atlas before the lens, clear, measured, humane, shaping a public understanding of the region. Then we turn south again. Aswan and the Nile receive the glow. And the journey returns to Egypt. Cairo, the river city, breathes. Feluccas tack beneath a forest of minarets. Lanes thread old Cairo's quarters. Evening haze softens the skyline as the Nile gathers light. We turn toward the Giza Plateau. The pyramids climb from a pale veil of air, plains catching sunlight, shadow measuring their mass with quiet authority. The Sphinx regards the desert with eroded calm. Tiny figures calibrate its scale. Guide, camel driver, a seated sketcher, human presence set against monumentality. Southward to Saqqara and Memphis. At the desert's edge, the step pyramid of Djoser lifts its terraces. Mastabas lie weathered and exact. Roberts notes joints, profiles, measured elevations, then washes them with atmosphere. Memphis survives in scattered stones and colossal fragments, yet on his pages they gain ground, proportion and presence. The Nile opens to Thebes, Luxor and Karnak. Ram-headed sphinxes marshal the approach. Pylons advance like gateways of time. Inside the hypostyle, columns soar, papyrus and palm transmuted to stone, reliefs held by raking light as dusk steadies the rhythm. Across the water, the Theban necropolis gathers under cliffs. Doorways to the valleys of the kings and queens puncture rock. Funerary quiet meets a changing sky. Cloud banks, blown grit, and a low sun. Human traces keep the landscape lived. Bearers, guardians, a traveller at rest, gesture and task giving empathy without excess. Upper Egypt's temples unfold. Philae, Edfu, Komombo, Dendera. Islands and riverfronts, intact walls and twin sanctuaries, interiors where ceilings blossom with zodiacal blue. Fidelity where structure demands, softened where air must breathe. Into Nubia, the banks narrow to grandeur. Abu Simbel appears half entombed, sand lapping colossal knees, a fallen head near the threshold. Dawn and sunset studied across those faces, moments now altered. From field sketches to hand-coloured lithographs, Louis Hager renders with faithful care, turning journeys into armchair travel before the lens existed. These images became a trustworthy baseline. Sites moved, shored or changed, yet his measures endure. Architecture, weather and people speak together, and Egypt returns as a clear window, precise, humane, luminous, a lasting chapter in the wider legacy of David Roberts. In 1840, he returned with an artistic treasure trove. He partnered with F.G. Moon to sell a monumental publication by subscription. The plan? High-quality, hand-coloured lithographs, mass production with the artist's touch. The brilliant lithographer Louis Hague captured Roberts's tones and atmospheres with remarkable fidelity. The result? The Holy Land, Syria, Idumea, Arabia, Egypt and Nubia, volumes issued 1842-1849. It was an unprecedented success, subscribed to by Queen Victoria herself. Armchair travel for a new public. Stunning visuals with concise text drawn from his diaries. 247 lithographs, a cultural event that shaped how a generation visualized the landscapes of history and faith. Several Egyptian scenes became especially celebrated. An avenue of ram-headed sphinxes leads to the massive pylon. Light and shadow reveal crumbling majesty. Small figures measure the colossal architecture. Inside the hypostyle, a low view makes columns soar endlessly toward the sky. Sunlight slices through openings, carving hieroglyphs from darkness. Philae, the pearl of the Nile, reflected in calm water, bathed in a golden late-afternoon glow. At Giza, a distant sandstorm and hazy light lend mystery. The Sphinx, half buried, the pyramids looming. By depicting changing weather, he evokes natural forces shaping the land across millennia. Egyptology was young. Hieroglyphs had only recently been deciphered. Few accurate visuals existed. Roberts's systematic survey changed that. The first coherent pictorial record, meticulous and wide-ranging, made for scholars and the public. His images became reference tools, the next best thing to being there. Topographical accuracy let scholars study plans, conditions and carvings as seen in the 1830s, a vital baseline as many sites have altered since. He recorded living Egypt, clothing, tools, animals within ancient settings. The volumes popularized Egypt's study, inspiring expeditions, museums and university chairs. Not a scholar by trade, he nonetheless helped build the field, a founding figure through art. His prints carried Egypt into parlours and lecture halls. Roberts served as archivist, a careful ledger of Egypt at a moment in time. Nature reshaped sites, wind, sand, and the annual Nile flood. Early digs could be rough, development encroached, so his drawings show temples before modern build-up, settings still legible. In the 20th century, Lower Nubia vanished beneath Lake Nasser. Whole sanctuaries were threatened. Some were saved. Abu Simbel and Philae lifted stone by stone, feats of engineering that spared their forms, if not their original horizons. Others departed entirely. The Temple of Dendur now stands in New York. Roberts froze a version of Egypt that no longer exists, an irreplaceable record, memory set in light and stone. Beyond prints, he translated field sketches into large exhibition oils. The Royal Academy was the arena for fame, reviews, and patrons. The oils were more theatrical, richer colour, sweeping compositions. He combined sketches and adjusted scenery for impact, hallmarks of Orientalism. Wealthy patrons paid handsomely for these visions of the East. Grand historical canvases drew huge crowds, public sensations. The house painter's son rose to acclaim, an emblematic Victorian success. Though Orientalism is now questioned, Roberts's art was grounded in first-hand travel and genuine wonder. After triumph, he never ceased to work or travel. He returned to European architecture, Venice's watery grandeur, London's monumental views, and as a full academician, exhibited annually, inspiring a generation. Esteemed publicly as a commissioner of the Great Exhibition, he kept his ambitions alive. He envisioned scenes of life along the Thames, an unfinished final project, still sketching, still observing, still refining. In November 1864, he suffered a stroke and died the same day, aged 68. He was buried at West Norwood, his legacy secure. He left thousands of drawings, watercolours and grand oils, an enduring record of a fading world. His art rests on superb draftsmanship, precision and perspective learned in trade and theatre, compositions arranged for maximum impact, human scale against monuments, an instant measure of vastness, stage-born lighting, brilliant sun and deep shadow-built drama and form, a warm Mediterranean palette, sun-bleached stone and dusty air, tactile surfaces, imitation marbles taught him material sensibility. Light tracing hieroglyphs, rough granite rendered with fidelity, accurate drawing, dramatic composition, masterful lighting, tactile detail, his images feel lived and true. Why does David Roberts still hold us? His legacy spans art, history and travel. He showed not only what Egypt looked like, but what it felt like. The hush before sunrise, sandstone warm to the touch, the desert breathing. Through his eye, place becomes experience. Before widespread photography, he fixed time, now altered by nature and people. He documented the now lost and the once hidden. His volumes fed Egyptology and popular understanding, bridging scholarship and public imagination. Pages turned and the ancient world opened. An adventurer with a draftsman's precision and a romantic soul, both record and art. Before the click of a camera, it took skill, courage and dedication to show us this ancient world. His legacy is written in stone and light, a timeless window onto Egypt. We look, and the desert grows quiet, waiting for our gaze. A palace for antiquities, the genesis of the Egyptian Museum. The Egyptian Museum in Cairo stands as a testament to a civilization that captivated the world for millennia. Its story began in the mid-19th century, a time when Egypt witnessed a resurgence of interest in its ancient past. Auguste Mariette, a French archaeologist, played a pivotal role. Mariette, alarmed by the plundering of ancient sites, advocated for the preservation of Egypt's heritage. His vision materialized in 1858 with the establishment of the Antiquities Service, the precursor to the museum. Housed initially in a modest building near the Boulak district, the collection grew rapidly. The Nile, however, had other plans. A devastating flood in 1878 threatened the burgeoning collection. The artifacts were meticulously moved to safety, but the event underscored the need for a more secure and permanent home. The pioneers, early curators, and their contributions. The museum found its current home in 1902 in a majestic edifice in Cairo's Tahrir Square. Designed by the French architect Marcel Dornion, the building itself is an impressive blend of neoclassical and ancient Egyptian styles. Its grand staircase and spacious halls provided an appropriate setting for the treasures within. Gaston Maspero, an eminent Egyptologist, succeeded Mariette as the museum's director. Maspero's tenure marked a period of significant expansion and scholarly rigor. He reorganized the collection, implemented modern museological practices, and published extensively on Egyptian history and culture. Another prominent figure was Howard Carter, whose discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922 catapulted the museum into the global spotlight. The subsequent arrival of Tutankhamun's treasures, including the iconic golden mask, drew crowds from around the world. Housing treasures, the museum's architectural evolution. The museum's layout, with its 2 floors, reflects a chronological and thematic organization. The ground floor houses heavier objects, including colossal statues, sarcophagi, and monumental pieces from various periods of Egyptian history. One can encounter imposing figures of pharaohs and deities. Upstairs, the focus shifts to smaller, more delicate artifacts. Rooms are dedicated to specific periods, such as the Old, Middle, and New Kingdoms, providing a comprehensive overview of Egypt's artistic and cultural evolution. Jewelry, pottery, papyri, and funerary objects offer intimate glimpses into the lives of ancient Egyptians. Over the decades, the museum has undergone expansions and renovations to accommodate its ever-growing collection. New wings and galleries have been added, and modern display techniques have been implemented to enhance the visitor experience. The Boy King's legacy, Tutankhamun's treasures unveiled. Among the museum's vast holdings, Tutankhamun's treasures occupy a place of unparalleled prominence. Discovered in 1922 by Howard Carter, the nearly intact tomb of the young pharaoh yielded a wealth of artifacts that captivated the world. The discovery provided an unprecedented glimpse into the opulence and artistry of ancient Egypt. At the heart of this collection lies Tutankhamun's golden mask, a masterpiece of funerary art. Crafted from solid gold and inlaid with semi-precious stones, the mask is a breathtaking example of ancient craftsmanship. Its serene expression and idealized features embody the youthful king's eternal afterlife. The mask, however, is but one of many treasures recovered from Tutankhamun's tomb. The museum houses a vast array of objects, including gilded chariots, ornate furniture, alabaster vessels, and a dazzling array of jewelry. Tutankhamun's tomb contained over 5,000 artifacts, each meticulously crafted and imbued with symbolic meaning. The chariots, for example, were not merely modes of transportation, but represented the king's power and divine status. The furniture, adorned with intricate carvings and inlays, served both practical and ritualistic purposes. The alabaster vessels, some shaped like animals or mythical creatures, held precious unguents and perfumes, essential for the king's journey to the afterlife. The jewellery, ranging from delicate necklaces to elaborate pectorals, showcased the skill of ancient Egyptian goldsmiths and reflected the king's status and wealth. The sheer quantity and quality of the artifacts from Tutankhamun's tomb provide an unparalleled understanding of the funerary practices, religious beliefs, and artistic achievements of ancient Egypt. The collection continues to captivate and inspire awe in visitors from around the world. Beyond Tutankhamun's treasures, the Egyptian Museum offers a comprehensive journey through millennia of Egyptian history. From the pre-dynastic period to the Greco-Roman era, the museum's collection spans over 5,000 years of civilization. Each artifact, whether a monumental statue or a humble amulet, provides a window into the past. The Old Kingdom, known for its pyramid building, is represented by colossal statues of pharaohs such as Djoser, Khufu, and Khafra. The Middle Kingdom, a period of political and cultural resurgence, is showcased through intricate jewellery, elegant sculptures, and finely crafted models of daily life. The New Kingdom, marked by imperial expansion and artistic innovation, is richly represented by objects from the reigns of powerful pharaohs like Hatshepsut, Thutmose III, and Ramesses II. The museum also houses artifacts from later periods, including the Ptolemaic and Roman eras, reflecting the enduring legacy of ancient Egypt. Within the museum's walls, countless stories unfold, each object whispering tales of a bygone era. The Nama palette, for example, a ceremonial object dating back to the early dynastic period, depicts the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt, a pivotal event in Egyptian history. The museum also houses a vast collection of papyri, ancient scrolls containing a wealth of information about Egyptian literature, religion, medicine, and daily life. The Book of the Dead, a collection of funerary texts, provides insights into Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife. Beyond the iconic artifacts, the museum holds countless hidden gems, each with its own story to tell. A small amulet worn for protection, a child's toy, a scribe's palette. These everyday objects offer intimate glimpses into the lives of ancient Egyptians. The Egyptian Museum serves not only as a repository of artifacts, but also as a centre for research and conservation. A team of dedicated curators, archaeologists and conservators work tirelessly to preserve and study the collection, ensuring that future generations can appreciate the wonders of ancient Egypt. The museum's conservation laboratories are equipped with state-of-the-art technology, allowing experts to restore and preserve delicate objects. Researchers from around the world come to study the museum's collection, contributing to our understanding of Egyptian history, culture and art. The museum also plays a vital role in combating the illicit trafficking of antiquities. By raising awareness and collaborating with international organizations, the museum strives to protect Egypt's cultural heritage from looting and destruction. The Egyptian Museum in Cairo stands as a testament to one of the world's most enduring civilizations. Its vast and diverse collection, spanning millennia of history, continues to captivate and inspire awe in visitors from around the globe. From the iconic golden mask of Tutankhamun to the everyday objects of ordinary Egyptians, the museum offers a window into a world both familiar and extraordinary. As a centre for research, conservation and education, the museum plays a vital role in preserving Egypt's cultural heritage for future generations. Its mission extends beyond its walls, fostering a deeper appreciation for the achievements of ancient Egypt and inspiring a sense of wonder at the ingenuity, creativity, and resilience of the human spirit. In the grand tapestry of ancient Egyptian history, a few names shine with an exceptional brilliance, casting long shadows across the millennia. One such name is Sneferu. He was a monarch who stood at the very beginning of what many consider Egypt's golden age. As the first pharaoh of the Fourth Dynasty, a period of unprecedented peace and prosperity, Sneferu's reign marked a pivotal moment. It was a time of immense cultural and architectural transformation. His rule laid the very foundations upon which his successors would build, creating a legacy that would echo through eternity. The name Sneferu itself offers a window into the character of the king and the values of his era. In the ancient Egyptian language, his name translates to "he of beauty" or "to make beautiful." This was not merely a title, but a declaration of intent, a mission statement for his reign. Sneferu sought to bring perfection and order, ma'at, to the world around him. This ambition showed up in administration and governance, and most spectacularly in the colossal stone monuments he commissioned. His reign heralded the start of the Fourth Dynasty, a lineage of kings who would oversee the zenith of the Old Kingdom. This period is remembered for monumental construction, especially the Great Pyramids. Sneferu was the patriarch of this dynasty of giants. He was the father of Khufu, the builder of the Great Pyramid of Giza. But before Khufu could build his wonder, Sneferu had to master pyramid building first. He embarked on a journey of trial and error on an astonishing scale. In this exploration of Sneferu's life, we will journey back over 4,500 years. We will uncover the story of the man behind the monuments. We will examine his family. We will trace his rise to power. We will estimate the length of his influential reign. We will delve into the architectural evolution under his watch. Meidum, the bent pyramid, the red pyramid. We will also investigate his foreign policies. We will examine his economic strategies and how he financed these feats, and how he secured Egypt's place as a dominant power in the ancient world. Before Sneferu, the royal tomb of a pharaoh was typically a step pyramid. The most famous example is the step pyramid of Djoser at Saqqara, designed by the brilliant architect Imhotep. This earlier structure was essentially a series of stacked mastabas, rectangular tombs, one on top of the other, creating a stairway to the heavens. While revolutionary, it was not the smooth, geometric shape we associate with the classic pyramid. Sneferu inherited this tradition, but was not content to simply replicate the past. He harboured a far grander vision that would require immense resources and daring innovation. His ambition? To create a true, smooth-sided pyramid. To be a perfect gleaming structure representing the primordial mound and the sun god Ra. This was a monumental challenge in design and in logistics. No one had attempted such a feat before. It demanded rethinking construction, starting with quarrying, transporting massive stone blocks, calculating precise angles for stability. Sneferu's reign became a laboratory of architectural experimentation, successes, failures. Throughout this documentary, we will examine his building program. We begin at Meidum, an existing step pyramid transformed, possibly catastrophically collapsed. Then to Dashur, the royal necropolis, the bent pyramid, a visible change in engineering plans midway through construction. Builders grappling with structural instability. Finally, the Red Pyramid, his ultimate masterpiece. The world's first successful, true, smooth-sided pyramid. A testament to Sneferu's persistence and decades of architectural evolution. It secured his legacy. It provided the blueprint for his son Khufu to build the Great Pyramid of Giza. Join us as we piece together the story of Sneferu, the king who learned from his mistakes and perfected the pyramid. Sneferu's path to becoming the ruler of the two lands was not a straightforward inheritance. He was not the direct offspring of his predecessor, Huni, the last king of the Third Dynasty. Instead, his legitimacy came through a strategic marriage. He married Hetepheres, believed to be a daughter of Huni. This union served as a crucial bridge between the old dynasty and the new, ensuring a stable transition. By marrying a royal princess, Sneferu, with obscure parentage, linked himself to the divine bloodline and cemented his claim. His rise began the Fourth Dynasty, an era of power, wealth and architectural grandeur. He didn't just inherit a kingdom, he inaugurated an era. His reign centralized power and created an efficient administration to mobilize resources and manpower. He established a new court and necropolis at Dashur, leaving the old centers at Saqqara and Meidum. The move signaled a fresh start and a break from Third Dynasty traditions. Sneferu reshaped Egypt. He used ideology and architecture to express royal authority. Stability and prosperity were means to a grander goal. He projected the pharaoh as a divine, living god, absolute and eternal. That vision was recorded in papyrus scrolls and more visibly in millions of tons of limestone, monuments to his ambition and piety for millennia to come. Determining the exact length of Sneferu's reign is a challenge. The Turin King list credits Sneferu with a reign of 24 years. For many years, this was the accepted length. However, more recent discoveries have led many experts to believe that Sneferu ruled for much longer. Inscriptions found at his Red Pyramid at Dashur mention the year of the 15th occasion of the cattle count. If this count occurred every 2 years, the 15th count would correspond to the 30th year of his reign, providing a more plausible window for his extensive building projects. Today, many scholars propose a reign of at least 30 years, with some suggesting it could have extended to as long as 48 years. Sneferu's family life was central to the stability. His principal wife was Queen Hetepheres I. The magnificent and beautifully preserved funerary equipment found within her tomb offers a breathtaking glimpse into the wealth and craftsmanship of Sneferu's court. Sneferu fathered a significant number of children. Many of his sons were appointed to the highest offices. The twin statues of Rahotep and his wife Nofret are renowned for their lifelike appearance, with inlaid crystal eyes that seem to gaze out across the millennia. The succession of a pharaoh was a matter of supreme importance. The heir became Khufu. Khufu was Sneferu's son with his principal queen, Hetepheres I. That parentage gave Khufu an unimpeachable claim to the throne. Growing up, Khufu was immersed in monumental construction culture. He witnessed immense logistical challenges. He saw engineering dilemmas. He saw the triumphs of Sneferu's projects. Sneferu had done the hard experimentation. Sneferu provided the perfected blueprint for a true pyramid. He literally and figuratively laid the foundation for the Great Pyramid of Giza. Sneferu's architectural journey began at Meidum, a mysterious, dramatic structure dominates the desert. The Meidum Pyramid today looks like a colossal stone tower ringed by a mountain of rubble and sand. It likely began as a step pyramid by Huni. Sneferu took over and enlarged it, then attempted to fill the steps with packing stones and encase it in polished Tura limestone. But something went terribly wrong at Meidum. One of the leading theories points to a fundamental design flaw. They built the outer casing on an unstable foundation of sand. This structural instability would have been a disaster waiting to happen. Whatever the true cause and timing, Meidum was a failure, but it was a crucial failure from which Sneferu would learn important lessons. It was the first major experiment in learning how to build a perfect pyramid. Having learned from the disaster at Meidum, Sneferu moved his building operations north to Dahshur. Here he began his second great pyramid, the Bent Pyramid. This pyramid is unique for its distinctive change in angle partway up its height. The lower section rises at a steep and ambitious angle of 54 degrees. However, about halfway up, the builders made a sudden and dramatic change. The angle of incline was abruptly reduced to a much safer and more gentle 43 degrees. The most widely accepted theory is that the steep initial angle was proving to be structurally unstable. Cracks likely began to appear in the walls. Faced with the very real possibility of a second collapse, the architects made the pragmatic decision to reduce the angle. The Bent Pyramid is remarkable because it is one of the best preserved pyramids, retaining a large portion of its original polished limestone casing. This gives us a fantastic impression of how these ancient monuments would have originally looked. After the near failure of the Bent Pyramid, Sneferu was not deterred. He immediately commissioned a third and final great pyramid. The Red Pyramid would be the culmination of his life's work. For the Red Pyramid, they chose a safe, shallow angle of 43 degrees from the start, the same successful angle used for the Bent Pyramid's top portion. That conservative angle ensured incredible stability. The Red Pyramid rises to a height of 105 meters, making it the third largest pyramid in Egypt. It is surpassed only by the Pyramid of Khufu and by the Pyramid of Khafre. Its construction represents the moment engineers finally mastered true pyramid building. The Red Pyramid is a testament to Sneferu's persistence. It was the world's first successful, large-scale, smooth-sided, true pyramid, and it became Sneferu's final resting place. A pharaoh's duty extended far beyond monumental construction. It was about maintaining Ma'at, the divine order. That included protecting Egypt's borders. Sneferu's reign was marked by assertive foreign policy. The Palermo stone records that Sneferu launched a major campaign against the Libyans. The Palermo stone gives numbers. Sneferu's armies captured 1,100 prisoners and 13,100 head of cattle. To the south lay Nubia, rich in gold, exotic goods, and manpower. Sneferu also campaigned south to secure those resources. The campaign established Egyptian dominance over Lower Nubia and opened trade and extraction of wealth. Beyond military campaigns, Sneferu's foreign policy was heavily focused on trade. To solve this, Sneferu looked north to the Levant. The Palermo stone records that the king dispatched a fleet of 40 ships filled with cedar wood. Sneferu also fostered expeditions to the Sinai Peninsula. The Sinai was rich in valuable minerals, particularly turquoise and copper. Inscriptions bearing Sneferu's name have been found at Wadi Maghare. show the pharaoh smiting an enemy, symbolizing his dominion over the region. The Egyptian economy was a highly centralized command economy, a redistributive economy. A vast bureaucracy of scribes and officials meticulously recorded agricultural output. This collected wealth was the engine that powered the state. These were not slaves, but skilled craftsmen and rotational labourers compensated with rations. They were well fed, housed in purpose-built towns, and received medical care, indicating they were valued and essential. In the final analysis, Sneferu's reign stands as a monumental turning point. He was more than just a builder of pyramids, he was the architect of an era. His legacy is etched not only in the millions of tons of stone he commanded, but also in the very fabric of the Fourth Dynasty's power and prosperity. Unlike many pharaohs who were feared, Sneferu was remembered fondly by later generations as a benign and wise ruler. His reign was looked back upon as a time of greatness and benevolent authority. He bequeathed to his son, Khufu, not just a perfected pyramid design, but a kingdom at the absolute zenith of its strength. A wealthy, well-organized and powerful state ready to embark on the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. He was the king who mastered the pyramid, the father of the most powerful dynasty of the Old Kingdom, and the visionary who laid the foundations upon which the very pinnacle of Egyptian civilization was built, securing his place as one of the most important and impressive pharaohs ever to rule the land of the Nile. Deep within the desert sands, an ancient civilization beckons. Egypt, a land of pharaohs and pyramids, has captivated the world for millennia. For centuries, the mysteries of ancient Egypt lay dormant, hidden beneath layers of sand and time. Who were these people who built such wonders? What secrets did their tombs hold? The allure of Egypt's enigmatic past has drawn explorers and scholars for generations. Join us now as we journey through time, exploring the fascinating history of this captivating field of study. Our exploration begins in antiquity, where early explorers and scholars first attempted to decipher the mysteries of ancient Egypt. We'll delve into the contributions of figures like Thutmose IV, a pharaoh who initiated early restoration efforts at ancient sites. These early pioneers laid the foundation for the formal study of Egyptology. From the deciphering of hieroglyphs to the excavation of forgotten tombs, each discovery has brought us closer to understanding the people and culture of ancient Egypt. Our journey into Egyptology begins not with an outsider, but with a pharaoh himself. Thutmose IV, a ruler during Egypt's glorious New Kingdom, was drawn to the grandeur of the past. He took a particular interest in the great Sphinx of Giza, a colossal statue already ancient in his time. Thutmose, seeing a symbol of both power and mystery, ordered its excavation. Thutmose's initiative marked an early awakening of interest in Egypt's ancient past. Centuries later, as Egypt fell under the sway of foreign powers, the task of recording its history fell to a man named Manetho. An Egyptian priest living during the Ptolemaic period, Manetho possessed knowledge of both Egyptian and Greek culture. His most significant work was the History of Egypt, a comprehensive chronicle written in Greek. In the Manetho organized the pharaohs of Egypt into dynasties or ruling families. Through these fragments, Manetho's influence on our understanding of Egyptian history remains profound. The Ptolemaic period though marking the end of native pharaonic rule, ironically ushered in a new era of engagement with ancient Egypt. The Ptolemies, keen to legitimize their rule, embraced Egyptian culture and traditions. It was during their reign that the famous Rosetta Stone was created in 196 BC. This accidental find would revolutionize the study of ancient Egypt, paving the way for the decipherment of hieroglyphs and the birth of modern Egyptology. The discovery of the Rosetta Stone ignited a firestorm of intellectual curiosity across Europe. Scholars raced to decipher the ancient hieroglyphs, hoping to unlock the secrets held within their intricate symbols. The breakthrough came in 1822, when a brilliant young French scholar named Jean-François Champollion cracked the code. Champollion recognized that the hieroglyphs on the Rosetta Stone represented sounds as well as ideas. With each decipherment, the ancient Egyptian language came alive, revealing a rich tapestry of history, mythology, and everyday life. While Champollion's work illuminated the written word, a new generation of explorers and archaeologists ventured into the deserts and tombs of Egypt. Among these pioneers was Sir William Matthew Flinders Petrie, a British archaeologist often hailed as the father of scientific archaeology. Petrie revolutionized the field of archaeology with his meticulous approach to excavation and recording. His insistence on recording even the smallest details laid the foundation for modern archaeological practice. The late 19th and early 20th centuries witnessed a golden age of Egyptological discovery. Armed with Champollion's decipherments and inspired by Petrie's methods, archaeologists from around the world flocked to Egypt. Expeditions unearthed a wealth of artifacts, from colossal statues and intricate jewellery to everyday objects. One discovery, however, would capture the world's imagination like no other: the tomb of Tutankhamun. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb, largely intact and filled with a dazzling array of golden treasures, became a global sensation. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922 remains a pivotal moment in Egyptology. The world held its breath as Howard Carter peered into the tomb's antechamber. Inside, Carter and his team found over 5,000 artifacts. Golden chariots, carved furniture, alabaster lamps and chests of jewellery filled the tomb. At the heart lay Tutankhamun, his mummified remains in nested coffins, culminating in the iconic golden mask. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb wasn't just about the dazzling gold and precious objects. It provided an unprecedented glimpse into the burial practices, religious beliefs, and artistry of ancient Egypt. Advances in scientific analysis, such as DNA testing and CT scans, have allowed researchers to learn more about Tutankhamun's health, his family relationships, and the circumstances surrounding his death. The boy king's legacy extends far beyond his brief reign, serving as a timeless reminder of the enduring power of ancient Egypt to captivate and inspire. Tutankhamun's tomb was just one of many royal tombs in the Valley of the Kings. This valley near Thebes served as the final resting place for New Kingdom pharaohs. Giovanni Belzoni discovered Seti I's tomb in 1817, its walls adorned with vibrant paintings. These discoveries have painted a vivid picture of ancient Egyptian beliefs and rituals. The exploration of the Valley of the Kings continues to this day, with archaeologists employing cutting-edge technology to uncover its remaining secrets. Ground-penetrating radar and thermal imaging help locate hidden chambers and passageways. Each new discovery adds another piece to the puzzle, deepening our understanding of the pharaohs who ruled Egypt during its golden age. The dedication and ingenuity of Egyptologists continue to bring its wonders to light, ensuring that the legacy of the pharaohs endures for generations to come. As our understanding of ancient Egypt has grown, so too has the need to protect its fragile legacy. The sands of time, while concealing Egypt's treasures, also pose a threat, as do environmental factors and human activity. To safeguard its heritage, the Egyptian government established the Ministry of State for Antiquities in 2011. This institution oversees all archaeological work in Egypt. The ministry also combats the illicit trade in antiquities, recognizing each looted artifact as an irreplaceable loss. Modern Egyptology is a truly collaborative endeavor. International teams, often working in partnership with Egyptian colleagues, bring a diverse range of expertise to bear on the study of ancient Egypt. The Ministry of State for Antiquities plays a crucial role in fostering these international collaborations, recognizing that the pursuit of knowledge knows no boundaries. This spirit of collaboration is essential for the future of Egyptology, as new technologies and research methodologies continue to emerge. Egyptology, though rooted in the study of the past, is a constantly evolving field. New technologies are revolutionizing the way we explore, analyze, and understand ancient Egypt. Ground-penetrating radar allows archaeologists to peer beneath the sands without disturbing the ground, revealing hidden structures and tombs. Satellite imagery helps identify potential archaeological sites from space, guiding researchers to areas of interest. And in the laboratory, DNA analysis and other scientific techniques provide unprecedented insights into the lives, health, and even the appearance of ancient Egyptians. The future of Egyptology lies in broadening our understanding of ancient Egyptian society. This means exploring the lives of ordinary Egyptians. What were their homes like? What did they eat? What were their beliefs and values? By studying daily artifacts, Egyptologists are piecing together a complete picture. This shift reveals a vibrant civilization beyond pyramids and pharaohs. We are learning about farmers, artisans, merchants, and priests, discovering the importance of family, community, and religion, gaining a deeper appreciation for their ingenuity and resilience. As we delve into Egypt's past, we face a crucial challenge: preserving its fragile heritage for future generations. Climate change, pollution, and mass tourism threaten ancient sites and artifacts. Rising groundwater levels erode the foundations of temples and tombs along the Nile. The number of visitors to sites like the Giza Plateau strains these ancient structures. Protecting Egypt's heritage requires a multifaceted approach involving the government, international organizations, and the global community. This includes conservation efforts, sustainable tourism, and raising awareness. By working together, we can ensure the wonders of ancient Egypt inspire future generations. Our journey through Egyptology spans from ancient sands to modern science. We've seen explorers, scholars and dreamers captivated by ancient Egypt. From restoring the Sphinx to Flinders Petrie's digs, knowledge has been passed down. The Rosetta Stone unlocked the voices of the past. We've stood in awe within Tutankhamun's tomb. Modern technology is revolutionizing our understanding of ancient Egypt. Egyptology is far more than the study of a long-vanished civilization. It's a testament to human curiosity, our desire to understand our place in time. The echoes of ancient Egypt resonate through art, architecture and language, reminding us that the past shapes who we are. The legacy of the pharaohs lives on in our quest to unravel their mysteries. As long as there are questions to be answered, Egyptology will continue to thrive. The sands of Egypt still hold many secrets, and each generation of explorers uncovers them, adding their own chapter to Egyptology's story. Egypt, a land of enduring mystery. The great river Nile carves its path. It has been the lifeblood of this nation. For millennia, civilizations have flourished here. On the Nile's west bank, near Luxor, ancient Thebes once stood in majesty. This was the traditional domain of the departed, a sacred landscape for tombs and temples. Here, nestled within a sun-scorched bay, lies the site known as Deir el-Bahari. Dramatic limestone cliffs rise sheer and stark. They form a natural, imposing amphitheatre. The desert sun beats down with fierce intensity, creating a scene of desolate beauty. This was a place chosen for sacred monuments, a location that speaks of power and eternity. Within this breathtaking natural theatre stands a structure. It is the mortuary temple of Queen Hatshepsut. Its pale colonnades gleam against the golden rock, a striking contrast of human artistry and nature. The ancient Egyptians called it Djeser Djeseru. This name translates to Holy of Holies, or perhaps the Sublime of the Sublimes. Its visual impact remains undiminished by time. Even now, thousands of years later, visitors are struck by its profound grandeur. A palpable sense of awe fills the air. The temple seems to transcend mere stone. It is a bridge to a distant, powerful past, a testament to ambition and faith. It stands as a silent, majestic guardian, guarding the secrets of a long-lost era. The mortuary temple of Hatshepsut is rightly famed. It is considered a masterpiece of ancient architecture. Its design was revolutionary for its time, breaking from many established traditions. The architect Senenmut showed great ingenuity. He created a structure of enduring beauty, one that harmonizes perfectly with its surroundings, a building that seems to grow from the cliffs. The temple is arranged on 3 ascending terraces. These broad courts are linked by central ramps. Graceful colonnades line the facades of each level, creating elegant patterns of light and shade. This terrace design was a bold innovation. It allows the temple to merge with the cliff face. It appears almost as a natural extension of the rock, a truly inspired and breathtaking architectural vision. Constructed primarily from gleaming white limestone, the temple would have shone brilliantly under the sun. Its construction was a monumental undertaking, requiring vast resources and skilled labor. Thousands of artisans, sculptors and workers toiled to carve the intricate reliefs and towering statues. The sheer scale of the complex is awe-inspiring, reflecting the immense power of the pharaoh. Today, Hatshepsut's temple continues to captivate. It offers invaluable insights into ancient Egypt, into their sophisticated beliefs about the afterlife, their extraordinary architectural and artistic skills, and into the reign of a powerful female ruler. It stands as a vital historical document, its message carved enduringly into stone. a legacy that has weathered the sands of time. The magnificent temple did not spring into existence overnight. Its construction began early in Hatshepsut's reign, likely around her 7th regnal year, circa 1473 BCE. This was a period of stability and growing ambition. Hatshepsut, now firmly established as pharaoh, sought to leave an indelible mark on Egypt's sacred landscape. A monument that would speak of her power and piety, a structure to rival those of her male predecessors. The vision for Djeser is often credited to one man, Senenmut, Hatshepsut's trusted steward and architect. He was a figure of immense influence and talent, overseeing many of the Queen's most ambitious projects. Some scholars suggest a close personal relationship beyond that of a queen and her loyal official. His genius lay in understanding Hatshepsut's desires and translating them into breathtaking architectural reality. The choice of Deir el-Bahari was deeply significant. This bay in the Theban cliffs already held sacred importance. It was adjacent to the mortuary temple of Mentuhotep II, a revered pharaoh from the Middle Kingdom. Hatshepsut consciously linked herself to this great unifier. The site was also considered sacred to the goddess Hathor, a powerful deity associated with love, beauty, and the afterlife. This location provided a dramatic, almost theatrical backdrop. The scale of the undertaking was truly monumental. It was to be a temple unlike any seen before in Egypt. Vast resources were marshalled for its creation. Labor, materials, and artistic skill were all required. Hatshepsut was not merely building a temple. She was crafting a powerful statement of her divine right. Her legitimacy as pharaoh would be carved into its very stones, a legacy intended to endure for all eternity. The construction of Hatshepsut's temple was a colossal effort. It demanded a vast and highly organized workforce. Thousands of individuals contributed their skills and labor. Skilled stonemasons meticulously shaped the limestone blocks. Artisans carved intricate reliefs and painted vibrant scenes. Engineers and foremen oversaw the complex logistics. Scribes kept detailed records of progress and expenditure. It was a city of workers, dedicated to a singular vision. The primary material was fine white limestone, quarried from Tura on the opposite bank of the Nile. This stone gave the temple its dazzling appearance, gleaming brightly under the powerful Egyptian sun. Red granite was imported from Aswan for doorways and statues. Sandstone was also used for certain structural elements. Transporting these massive blocks was an immense challenge, requiring ramps, rollers, and sheer human effort. The precise duration of the temple's construction remains debated. Most Egyptologists estimate it took around 15 years, a significant portion of Hatshepsut's 22-year reign. Work likely progressed in phases, terrace by terrace, starting with the lower levels and gradually ascending. Each ramp and colonnade meticulously aligned. The vast courts slowly taking shape against the cliffs, a testament to careful planning and sustained effort. The engineering challenges were considerable for the time. Creating the broad, stable terraces required ingenuity, cutting and fitting the enormous stone blocks precisely, ensuring the structural integrity of the colonnades, the intricate carving of countless reliefs and hieroglyphs, depicting scenes of divine birth, trade expeditions, and religious rites. All this was achieved with tools of copper and stone, a remarkable feat of ancient skill and perseverance. Hatshepsut's temple housed shrines dedicated to key deities, integrating her mortuary cult with Thebes' religious landscape. Notable shrines include the Hathor shrine, with columns carved as Hathor's head, and the Anubis shrine. The Amun-Ra sanctuary on the uppermost terrace featured exquisite painted reliefs. These shrines ensured divine favor for Hatshepsut in her afterlife. Hatshepsut's mortuary temple stood as a glorious monument, but her tomb was hidden. The temple was for her cult, sustaining her spirit in the afterlife. However, it was not her final resting place. Hatshepsut sought a hidden burial in the Valley of the Kings. The valley offered secrecy, vital for protecting royal mummies. For centuries, Hatshepsut's tomb remained an enigma. Archaeologists scoured the hills, yet her mummy eluded them. Speculation abounded regarding her ultimate fate and burial. Some wondered if her tomb had been destroyed, while others believed it lay undiscovered. The search for her was a significant missing piece in Egyptian history. Thutmose III attempted to erase Hatshepsut from historical records. Her statues were defaced, her cartouches removed, raising questions about her tomb. The quest to find her became an attempt to restore a powerful figure. The Valley of the Kings held many secrets. Each discovery offered hints, but no definitive answers. Early explorers documented tombs, yet none were Hatshepsut's. The search required patience, research, and luck. The world awaited the moment her sanctuary would yield its secrets. The quest to identify Hatshepsut's mummy was reignited in the early 21st century. Dr. Zahi Hawass spearheaded a new initiative to locate missing royal mummies. Hatshepsut was high on the list of priorities. The team focused on 2 female mummies in KV60. One was in the Cairo Museum, the other still in KV60. Could one of these anonymous women be the lost queen? The investigation began with modern technology. The mummy in KV60 was brought to the Cairo Museum. Both mummies underwent CT scans. The scans revealed crucial details. One mummy, KV60A, was elderly and missing a molar. The other, KV60B, was Hatshepsut's royal wet nurse. A wooden box inscribed with Hatshepsut's cartouche was found. Inside was a single mummified molar tooth. The CT scan of KV60A revealed an empty tooth socket. The tooth from the box was a perfect fit. In June 2007, it was announced that KV60A was Hatshepsut. The discovery was a major archaeological triumph. Hatshepsut's remains were finally given their royal due. Hatshepsut's temple played a crucial part in Thebes' beautiful festival of the valley, celebrating rebirth and renewal. The festival reaffirmed the divine order and the power of Amun-Ra. The bark of Amun-Ra crossed the Nile to Hatshepsut's temple. Special rituals honored Amun-Ra and Hatshepsut. The festival transformed the West Bank into a vibrant landscape of divine encounter. The sacred life of Hatshepsut's temple was not confined to grand annual festivals. It pulsated with a continuous rhythm of daily devotion and ritual activity. A substantial community of priests and temple staff ensured its constant operation. Their unwavering service was essential to maintaining the sanctity of the complex. They also ensured the well-being of the Queen's spirit in the afterlife. These daily duties were performed with meticulous care, following ancient protocols. This ensured that the temple remained a potent conduit between the earthly and divine realms. The air itself would have been thick with incense, murmured prayers, and the quiet efficiency of sacred duty. Each day began with purification rituals for the priests themselves. They would then proceed to awaken the divine presence within the temple's sanctuaries. This involved opening the shrine doors, a symbolic act of bringing the deity forth. Offerings of food, drink, flowers, and fine linens were presented before the statues of Hatshepsut and the other gods worshipped there. Incense was burned to purify the air and please the divine senses. Hymns and sacred texts were recited, praising the deities and invoking their protection and favor. These were not mere symbolic gestures. They were considered vital for sustaining the cosmic order and the pharaoh's eternal life. While dedicated primarily to Hatshepsut's mortuary cult, Djeser also housed important shrines for other significant deities. The magnificent chapel dedicated to Hathor, the goddess of love, beauty and the West, was a prominent feature. Another shrine honoured Anubis, the jackal-headed god of mummification who guided souls to the underworld. Above all, the uppermost sanctuary was consecrated to Amun-Ra, Hatshepsut's divine father and the king of the gods. The worship of these deities was seamlessly integrated into the temple's daily life. This ensured a harmonious relationship with the entire Egyptian pantheon, further sanctifying Hatshepsut's own divine status and legacy. Therefore, the temple was far more than a static monument to a deceased ruler. It was a vibrant, functioning institution, a hive of religious activity and meticulous care. Its operation required significant resources. Land endowments provided agricultural produce for offerings. Workshops produced sacred oils, incense, and linens. Scribes maintained detailed inventories and records of temple activities. The sheer scale of this daily enterprise underscores the immense importance placed on the afterlife. It highlights the pharaoh's role in maintaining Ma'at, the divine order. Hatshepsut, sublime of the sublimes, was truly a living house of eternity, sustained by ceaseless devotion. After Hatshepsut's reign, Thutmose III took power. He began erasing her memory from records. Statues were defaced, names removed. Her temple bore the brunt of this campaign. The reasons remain debated by historians, but the impact on her legacy is clear. Centuries after Hatshepsut, Egypt faced the Amarna period under Akhenaten. He promoted the Aten, suppressing traditional gods. Temples of Amun-Ra were defaced. Hatshepsut's temple suffered greatly. Akhenaten's death saw restoration efforts. Temples were repaired, but scars remained. Later periods brought new challenges. Hatshepsut's temple faced neglect and quarrying. It faded into the sands of time. Under Greek rulers, Egypt saw a renewed interest in ancient traditions. The Ptolemies presented themselves as successors to the pharaohs. They restored many older temples. Deir el-Bahari saw minor cultic activity and adaptive reuse. Its grand pharaonic religious life was long past. The site remained a powerful reminder of a bygone golden age. Over time, the temple complex was gradually abandoned. The desert winds began to reclaim the structure. Sand accumulated in its courts and against its colonnades. The vibrant paint on its reliefs faded under the relentless sun. The precise details of its decline into ruin are scarce. Its original function as a mortuary temple ceased. The ancient gods fell silent within its once hallowed halls. With the spread of Christianity, many ancient temples were repurposed. Deir el-Bahari attracted a new faith. A Coptic Christian monastery was established within the ruins. This monastery became known as the Monastery of St. Foibamon. The area gets its Arabic name, Deir el-Bahari. This name translates to Monastery of the North. The ancient stones were given a new sanctity. The monks occupied parts of Hatshepsut's temple for centuries. They adapted the ancient structures to suit their needs. Walls were built, and some reliefs were covered with Christian paintings. Shrines once dedicated to Egyptian gods became chapels for Christian worship. This period of Coptic occupation further altered the temple's appearance. Eventually, this monastery too was abandoned, likely by the 11th century. The temple then lay largely forgotten by the outside world, waiting for its rediscovery and meticulous excavation in the modern era. For centuries, Hatshepsut's temple lay hidden, obscured by desert sands and later structures. Its vibrant life had faded and its true identity was forgotten. Local inhabitants knew of the ruins, but their splendor remained concealed. Early explorers like Richard Pocock documented their observations in the 18th century. Napoleon's expedition and later scholars like Champollion and Lepsius recognized its significance. Their work laid the foundation for future research, bringing ancient Egypt to a global audience. The stage was set for systematic efforts to unveil its buried secrets. The mid-19th century marked a shift towards systematic archaeological work in Egypt. Auguste Mariette founded the Egyptian Antiquities Service in 1858. His efforts curbed uncontrolled digging and protected sites. Mariette began revealing Hatshepsut's temple at Deir el-Bahari. Later, Edouard Neville led extensive campaigns from 1893 to 1906. His team exposed the temple's terraces and colonnades. Neville's work revealed stunning reliefs and the temple's ground plan. Since 1961, a Polish-Egyptian team has undertaken vital restoration work. Their efforts have preserved the monument and uncovered new information. Hatshepsut's temple continues to inspire awe and provide knowledge. The mortuary temple of Hatshepsut, Djeser-Djeseru, stands as a singular achievement, a radiant beacon of ancient architectural ingenuity. Carved into the dramatic Deir el-Bahari cliffs, its beauty remains undiminished. The dream of a remarkable female pharaoh brought to life in stone. Her ambition and connection to the divine resonate from every colonnade, a monument without precise parallel in Egyptian heritage. The harmonious design attributed to Senenmut speaks of a deep understanding of landscape, a testament to an era of peace, prosperity and artistic expression. Its ascending terraces continue to draw the eye and spirit upwards. The journey of this magnificent temple through time is a compelling narrative. It tells a story of grandeur, faith, turmoil and rebirth. From its sacred foundation, it served its queen and the gods of Egypt. Its courts once echoed with the beautiful festival of the valley. Its sanctuaries witnessed the quiet reverence of daily rituals. Then Thutmose III's proscription fell upon its walls, attempting to erase a queen. Later, Akhenaten's reign left its own distinct marks. Centuries of fading light and encroaching desert sands followed, yet the spirit of Djeser-Djeseru endured through all these trials. The rediscovery and excavation unveiled its long-hidden splendor. Early explorers and archaeologists brushed away the debris of centuries. Their efforts revealed the full majesty of its design and reliefs. The soul of Djeser-Djeseru was brought back into the light. Today, international collaborations continue the crucial work. Teams conserve its fragile narratives and reconstruct sections. They piece together the story of Hatshepsut and her era. The temple remains a living archive of ancient Egyptian culture. The mortuary temple of Hatshepsut transcends its identity as an archaeological site. It is a place of profound cultural and historical significance. Visitors from around the world walk its courts with awe. They hear echoes of a sophisticated ancient civilization. The temple stands as an enduring monument to human ambition. It speaks of deep spiritual aspiration and artistic achievement. It is the lasting legacy of the formidable female pharaoh who dared to rule. Her Djeser-Djeseru, the Holy of Holies, stands majestically, a timeless beacon against the Egyptian sands.